Hey out there, you guys. It's Friday again, and it's time for a movie review. Doing another kind of obscure one this time around.
Yeah.
This is kind of one that I don't think I actually saw this at the time that it came out.
No,
It's
called
Evilspeak.
Evilspeak. Yeah, and
From 1981.
the reason why it stuck out in my mind is because this came out when I was in military school,
Yeah.
SCMA, and this is happening. This movie is happening in a military school.
Yeah, it's set in a military school.
Which is a trip because during this era, there was a bunch of little military school type based movies coming out. And I don't know what started it. I don't know if it was Omen 2 that started it. But
might be. Because this movie does seem a little bit like Omen 2.
And
when did Omen 2 come out, though?
I don't know. I think it was a little bit before this.
Yeah, it might have been.
And in the Los Angeles basin, there was my school and another one, which is Southern California Military Academy, SCMA, and the other one was called the Army Navy Academy. And I don't know if they ever used Army Navy Academy in a school, but they used mine, SCMA, they used our school in a movie.
Yeah.
In a Stallone movie called Over the Top.
Yeah, it was like, not this one, but...
No, not this one, but another. This one, I think, they're supposed to be I think they're talking about Army Navy Academy, because Army Navy Academy was like 10th grade up through high school, and maybe, 10th through 12th, I think is what...
Right.
Yeah, I think it was 10th or 12th, they may even had some college courses there. I know that when you got out of Army Navy Academy, you could actually go into the service as an NCO.
Yeah.
So they were making NCOs there. So somehow these were good scenes and backdrops for movies. I think the Hollywood guys thought that was interesting. They also think they thought it was kind of freakish. It was the Reagan era. And a lot of guys that were in Hollywood really didn't vote for Reagan, and there was kind of a negative spin on a lot of military schools. They were kind of misportrayed, is what they were like. But it showed up in a lot of movies.
Yeah, this one is actually it's not a real military academy. It's in the movie. It's called West Andover.
Yeah.
And it actually wasn't even filmed at a real military academy. It's actually filmed at like a Spanish mission or something like that.
But the thing is military academies in California were in that style. Mine was in that style.
Well, yeah,
like
that's
Spanish
probably
mission. That's why they did it.
Why they used that.
But they wouldn't be able to actually film a military academy. They wouldn't be able to go in there and film because some students actually lived in them. They were working. There was constant activity in them.
The funny thing about this movie, like I said, I don't remember ever seeing it or really hearing about it that much, but you remembered it.
Yeah.
And although I don't remember if you remembered like the title of it, but we eventually like tracked it down.
Yeah, I remember the title.
Because it's kind of a strange premise. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like the loser gets revenge on his bullies type genre.
Yeah.
Kind of like Carrie.
Yeah, like Carrie.
Like the Omen 2 a little bit. There was actually another movie that came out either right before this one or right around the same time that was called Fear No Evil that had the same premise.
Yeah.
And 976 Evil, if you saw that one, about the phone line. With the dorky guy. Same kind of thing.
One of the really interesting things about this at the time, when this came out, the hottest home computer you could get was like the Apple IIe.
Yeah.
All right. And this movie featured an Apple II computer in it. And a bunch of, for the time, really awesome computer graphics. And it was mixed with Satanism. And it would really capture your imagination when you were a kid. You're like, wow, you could use a computer to conjure the devil. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like a very strange, like I said, you got the whole loser getting revenge type thing. Then you have the whole Satanism angle.
Yeah.
And then you have like computer technology.
Yeah,
like computers are magic type of thing. And I kind of laughed when we were watching this. It actually is an Apple IIe in this that he uses to like summon Satan or channel. It's not really Satan. He's actually channeling a Satanist.
From the past that was in the area.
Yeah, he's like named Esteban.
Yeah.
And he's played by Richard Mall, who played Bull on Night Court.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to see, this was actually before Night Court, but if you ever want to see Bull from Night Court playing a Satanist and cutting people's heads off, this is your movie.
And I swear to God, the main character in this movie is the same kid who played Chaka.
It's not.
It's not. It looks just like Chaka from Land of the Lost.
This is Clint Howard.
All right.
Is the main character in this.
Yeah.
And he actually got quite famous later on, just being a cult kind of figure. It's Ron Howard's brother, obviously. And Ron Howard has put him in a few of his movies as well. But Clint Howard, he's kind of a cult hero, I guess, because he was in so many of these like cheesy ass 80s horror movies. This was actually his first major role, his first starring role. He had been in TV and stuff like that before that. But the poor guy is like so funny looking that it just seems like he can never really catch a break. Yeah. You know what I mean? He can never like be a leading man or anything like that.
He's got like a unibrow and buck.
Yeah, because he's so weird looking. Like I think they made him look worse in this movie. I mean, he is for real funny looking. He's
constantly sweating and hyperventilating and huffing and puffing.
Yeah, it's like I'm not sure. Like I think he might have a toupee in this movie.
I don't know what it is.
And I'm not sure if that's a real partial unibrow or.
It just looks like Chaka to me. I thought he was Chaka
from
Land of the Lost.
Yeah, we were watching it because he was like, it looks like Chaka. He's like, I wonder if he played Chaka when he was a kid from the original Land of the Lost. And like, I was sitting there going,
I said the age should be about right.
I was like, that may be. So I looked it up. I looked up Chaka on Wikipedia, and it's not. It's a different guy. But he does really look like him, though.
But what's cool about the movie is that the Satanism gets involved, and the kid gets satanic powers, and he wreaks revenge on a bunch of asshole classmates and staff from the military school.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Carrie. But there's some really cool scenes in it. Him hovering with swords and throwing fireball type shit. And it's pretty awesome.
The interesting thing about this movie is that, I mean, I can see how if people don't really have a lot of patience, it might seem like there's like a really lot of build up. Because really the first 2/3, 3/4 of this movie is him getting picked on.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really terrible. Like you kind of really have to sympathize with the dude because it's like he's so pitiful and he's so funny looking and it's like everybody hates him. He's like an orphan. He's only at this school because, you know, he's like a welfare case.
Yeah.
You know, so he's there and he's like poor. And, like, all the other kids, like, even the fat kids pick on him. For fuck's sake. He only has one friend who's, like, the dude that was on... What was that guy? He was on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Silver Spoons or one of those shows.
I don't know. I remember, though, we were watching it, you know, and guys from our academy, we loved it. But we would also comment, like, wow, what kind of military academy is that? Because, actually, kids that went to military academies, most of them asked to go. I asked to go. And most of us were day students. And they didn't tolerate any misbehavior. It was all good kids. Yeah. And there was really nothing unusual about them. You know what I mean? They were just like regular schools, like kind of like a Catholic school type. Well, no, I wouldn't call it a Catholic school. Not what we know today. More like a regular kind of private school. It was like mixed with the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts. That's all it was.
Yeah.
But people that didn't go to them thought that there was like sinister shit going on in them.
Yeah.
But there's a whole like documentaries about my school on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just look at SCMA and it'll come up.
Yeah, it's basically kind of a thing where it's almost kind of like Carrie's like all these people that are picking on him, because it's not just the other students, it's like teachers and shit too. It's like really the only guy that likes him. He has one friend that kind of sticks up for him. The cook, you know, is nice to him. And shit like that, but other than that, just everybody picks on this poor kid, and it's like it's hard, like I said, not to sympathize with him because he's just so, you know, dorky, and it's like, and I feel like that's probably a natural thing that Clint Howard does. I mean, he's just like he's so awkward, and it's like he just trips over shit, and he's just like always falling, and he has these like really dorky facial expressions.
Well, he's very cringy. That's what you call it. He's a cringy character.
Yeah.
But then he comes back with the power of Satan and whips ass.
In a way, you can kind of like understand why, and everyone picking on him is such assholes that it's like you're like, yeah, man, get in there, summon Satan, and just like get rid of all those people.
And then like the janitor threatened to rape him.
Yeah,
remember that?
He did.
Yeah, there's a bunch of weird shit.
This is a crazy movie. It's like I said, it takes a while to get where it's going. I should note that for a while, this movie was actually on the UK's infamous Video Nasties list. You actually won't know why that is until about the last 10 minutes, and then you'll go, oh, that's why. But there's like a lot of fun stuff in this. But like I said, really, the crazy, batshit insane stuff doesn't really happen until the end. Although you do get to see a naked lady getting eaten by pigs.
Yeah. I normally would have kind of
a good thing.
This would have been a good candidate for Thomm's shitty movies on YouTube, but this one was actually good enough to actually have a full review on 13 o'clock. It is a low budget movie, but it's pretty well made.
Yeah.
You can tell that the people that made this were competent. The score and the sound effects, you can tell directly. Whoever did those had experience with television. These are a lot of the same television special effects in little sound cues that were just rampant through the 70s, almost like a 70s sitcom. But it was a low budget, but it was kind of effective. It delivered. It actually showed you what it promised to show you. And a lot of movies from this period would promise a lot on the poster and in the trailer, but then when you saw them, there's really nothing to them. This one actually did deliver. It was kind of like a more action-packed, more of a juvenile version of Omen 2.
Yeah.
And Omen.
Because like I said, the last 10 minutes are pretty gnarly. There's just heads flying everywhere, hearts getting ripped out, all kinds of fun.
Yeah, it goes ghetto.
People
on
getting eaten by pigs.
It goes pretty ghetto on you.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But here's the thing this did not occur to me while I was watching the movie. It kind of occurred to me afterward. Why does a military academy have a pigsty?
Well, I think it was formed up with a farm, and they were growing their own food. Isn't that what was that? I think that's what they were trying to say.
That makes
that their chores were to also work in the farm and grow food. But that's military academies weren't like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They just wanted pigs because of that thing in the Bible where it's like Jesus put the demons in the pigs and blah blah blah, and then he could control the pigs. That's kind of what I was thinking.
The only accurate portrayal of a California military school I ever saw was on Over the Top, and Sylvester Stallone's son plays an SCMA student. They actually show the real students, the real cadre. They're there. Now, it's not at the correct location. They took it to a much nicer location. Didn't look like a Spanish fort. It just looked like I don't know, the Washington Monument or something. It looked like where they had it. But that is actually what they're like. They're nothing sinister was going on in them.
Well, this is a horror movie. What are you going to do? Yeah. This was actually, it was directed by Eric Weston, and this was actually his first directorial job. And he didn't do another horror movie until 2011, which seems like kind of a shame. But this movie actually cost $1 million to make, which wasn't chump change for a horror movie of this type back then. I'm not going to say it's not like some hugely forgotten genius movie or anything like that, but if you really like satanic movies from the late 70s and early 80s, which I do, if you like the whole Revenge of the Nerd genre and you want to see something that's super super crazy, like I said, it's kind of a long slog. A lot of it, the first part of the movie is kind of building up his character and watching him get picked on.
Yeah, but it's still good though.
Yeah, and stuff like that. No, I'm just saying, if people are impatient with that kind of stuff.
It takes a while for it to get
It takes a while for it, but the end part is amazing.
It pays off.
It's really crazy.
You can watch for free. They have a good HD copy of it up on YouTube. It hasn't been taken down yet.
Yeah, it's still there. What the hell channel was that on? We were watching it.
I don't know. We can probably post a link somewhere in the comments or description.
Yeah, I'll have to go find it.
But they must have come out with a re-release to this on Blu-ray or something.
Yes.
I actually wouldn't mind having this one on a Blu-ray. It would probably be pretty good to have in a collection.
The thing that made me laugh too about the Apple II was that it almost had a proto Google Translate.
Exactly, translating all the
because
Latin
he was translating
stuff.
all the Latin that was in this book.
It was way ahead of the time. If you've ever had an Apple IIe, you couldn't do much with one.
Well, that's what was kind of funny. He was pretty much all you could do with it. You could draw little.
You could play
shapes.
Wizardry.
Yeah, or Oregon Trail or something.
Yeah,
but that's
I remember that one.
It.
They had an Indiana Jones ripoff. It was kind of like Pitfall.
Remember
that one?
Yeah, I remember that.
Kind of had an Aztec motif to it, I think.
Yeah. We got those in. We got computers. That's how old I am. We got computers when I was 8.
You would tear the keyboard up. You'd break the shit out of those keyboards or playing those video games.
In school,
hitting the space bar over and over again. Yeah.
And it was a big deal. We got these fucking things, and we were like, "Woo! Look at it! It's amazing." It's wow, I can hold 1K or something.
Yeah,
it was more than that.
Your cell phone could hold 30,000 Apple IIes now.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
The thing that, so I think that's kind of something that gave this one like a little bit of originality, was the fact that he sort of used the computer. Like, was the computer possessed, or was the computer like acting as like a way for Esteban to come back?
Yeah, Esteban, I think he came back through the computer, through the cyber world somehow. It's just movie magic.
Is it because of Clint Howard? His character's name is Cooper Smith, by the way, which I don't think I ever said. Stanley Cooper Smith. And like all his stupid classmates just call him Cooper Dick all the time. I'm like, that's the best you could think of? Lame. Yeah. But you know what I mean? They all get killed, so it's all right. But
the graphics on it in the computer were almost as good as Tron and an Apple II.
They were actually. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad for the time, and it's.
I don't think it was computer graphics. I think it was
animation.
Animation.
It probably it looked a lot more like animation, but yeah, it's just. I think that gives this one something of like a little bit of a weirdness, a little a little something because I love kind of the juxtaposition of like the ancient Satanist shit. And, he's a Spanish monk who ended up in California somehow. I guess he got banished from Spain,
banished
right?
from being Satanist, remember? For being a Satanist, yeah.
And I also have to say that one of my very favorite parts of this movie, like, happens almost immediately after the credits, where Father Esteban, like, cuts off the person's head, and then they edit it, like, to a soccer ball flying. I fucking love that shit. It's, like, a really funny edit. This actually has a lot of comedy to it. I wouldn't call it a horror comedy, but it actually does have like comedic moments just because Clint Howard's character is so dorky and awkward, and it's like you kind of feel bad for him, but then you're like, man, what a... Because he's kind of whiny too, I gotta say. It's
just a very watchable movie.
It is. Yeah. It's like I said, it's not one of those ones where it's like, oh, this is fantastic and I can't believe I forgot about it. But it's a really interesting premise, and it's like a really interesting...
Got to be in the right mood for it. Maybe you had a few drinks. And,
Yeah, which is what we did. Yeah. But it's like, the end of it is super fun, and like the end of it is super gory, like I said. And it was on the Video Nasties list for a while.
Yeah.
Just because of those last movies. It's not, obviously, it's not cut anymore, but back then it was. Even it's one of the lesser known ones that was on that infamous list. I still wanted to do, like, I just remember I did a show about the Video Nasties.
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated by that kind of stuff because I lived in the UK for a little while. But yeah, this is like, this is just one that we kind of wanted to do because we saw it a long time ago. I had never seen it.
Yeah, and it's good enough.
He just remembered it because it was set in a military school, and it was one that he
remembered. And it's good enough to talk about on 13 o'clock.
I find it quite enjoyable, actually.
Yeah, and it's free. So you can go watch it.
And so far.
And you can watch a good copy of it until they take it down. Right.
Yeah. I'll put a link in the description. So if you want to watch it for free until somebody finds out about it and they take it down. But like I said, I think there is a Blu-ray out now. With it's probably Scream Factory. I think they did one. So that's got kind of a lot of cool extras and shit on it. So if you want to check it out, you should. And
I think there was a making of. Somebody was talking about it. There's a making of, and there's a bunch of on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, interviews and stuff.
It's funny. Even Trancers had a little making of in the Blu-ray edition of it that I have, and they're talking about Trancers like it's Citizen Kane.
That always kind of cracks me up. I love seeing.
Like, this is a piece of shit movie. You're talking about it like Trancers was okay when it came out when you were a kid. When I revisited it, I was like, it's totally incoherent.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's
too much footage.
What's the what's the alternative, though? It's like if you have to. I mean, you may be contractually obligated nowadays, probably, to do some extra shit for the DVD or the Blu-ray release. So what are you going to do? You're just going to sit there and go, this movie sucked.
They made a lot of Trancers movies that, I think it went up to like 7 or 8. For all I know, they got better as they went along.
Yeah,
they must
I've never
have
seen any of the other
Phantasm ones. Did. Phantasm actually gets better as it goes.
I actually like the second one better than the first one.
I haven't seen the third one yet, though.
No, I haven't seen the third
Everybody says they get better as they go, so I need to get that.
Wow, that would be a very rare thing for
very
that to happen.
Well, they all have humble origins.
Yeah.
And if people care about it, they care about the mythos, and they, you know what I mean, and they're written correctly, they can get better.
Yeah. I can buy that.
A lot of times they get worse because you have an original idea, and then later on the studios want to bring it down to a PG level, and then they start selling it to kids. It gets worse and worse, like Conan movies and shit.
Yeah, or they just want to make, awesome. We're just going to try and make another one like the first one.
Just keep dumbing it down.
Yeah, and they're just trying to make it, appeal to wider and wider audiences.
Like Predator.
But, Yeah, but
anyway.
Whatever. But yeah, so like I said, I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch this for free. It's pretty entertaining, and the ending is actually pretty batshit insane, so you should probably check that out. And that will do it for this latest movie review. Remember, if you would like to support the show, you can go to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/13o'clockpodcast, or you can go to our blog, which is 13o'clockpodcast.wordpress.com. And there's a link in the sidebar to a PayPal account. Also, check out our Zazzle store at zazzle.com/13o'clock. We have like a lot of t-shirts and a tote bag that you may purchase if you so desire. And remember, our regular episodes come out every Tuesday, and our movie reviews come out every Friday. We will see you next time. Bye.